AA6DD. Good morning for the AM Roundtable. One of my cats is over here throwing things off a shelf to make a spot for herself. So, anyway, it is a scorcher out there. I just went out and looked at the temperature, 98 degrees already. Let's see how it is everywhere else in greater Southern California. Jim, W6YOS.
AA6DD in the net, WA6YOS, in Westminster. Well, good morning, Will, and everybody else out there. Well, it's not scorching down here. It's actually been quite nice. We've had some lovely summer days. You get in the shade, and the breeze is cool, and you get the sun, and you feel a little warmth of the sun on you, and that's kind of the perfect day for me, although I've always had an affinity for cloudy winter days as well, as long as it's not cold. But yeah, we've got that time of the year when there's a big differential between the coast and inland areas. So I think the highest it's gotten in my house was like 74. And that real nice thing where you just stay out of the sun and you want to go cooler, and you will. And I was outside yesterday working a little bit. We had sun in the middle of the day, and then in the morning it was overcast, and then in the evening, when I finished my yard work, the clouds came right back in, and the sun was filtered and then covered up. So anyway, well, this week my big project was to finally get to the bottom of a Venus portable radio, which I've had for a long time, and when you tune the dial anywhere around 600 on AM, you heard scratching it, so it's a variable capacitor. And I looked at that thing, and I had a little plastic shin thing, and I stuck it in between the plates, and everything I did on that thing, I finally got it down to the section that was faulty, but I could not find where the plates were touching. And since we're down to oiling with the dial, most of the capacitors, the plates are meshed. And it was driving me crazy because I thought, I just can't spend, any more time on this thing. It's a simple repair. I gotta fix it. So anyway, everything I touched, you can hear the thing in and out, So finally, I got in there very carefully, went to each side of the stator on the capacitor section, and wedged the screwdriver in, applied pressure, and shifted the plate. So since you're doing it on each side, you're kind of tilting them as well as shifting their position relative to the rotor plate. But if you have all that in your mind, and you go back and forth, and you play around just right with the amount of pressure, you can finally straighten things out. Because you certainly could not see by looking that there was anything touching. And, of course, your eyes get to a point where you can only see to a certain resolution as well as you get older, so that's another problem. But anyway, I got the damn thing fixed. It seems to be super reliable now, and no problem. I'm banging on the thing with a screwdriver to try to get it to fail again, and I think it's going to be fine. So solved that one problem. Then while I had the thing out, of course, I had to clean the controls and all that. So took care of that while it was out. It also has the directional antenna, which is the main point in why I got this the radio system. One place that the antenna should be turned to by directionality. It's got a dial light. It's got, it was originally meant to have BS capability as well, so it has the RF phase control, manual RF tuning, and then clicks in the position for ABC. By the way, those radios are wonderful if you're trying to track down interference. Because this new refrigerator I got puts out all kinds of normal RF. That's most new appliances do, I've learned. You want to detect if you're playing around with filters or positioning, AC power grid or anything like that. Well, you can't have ABC on the radio to do that technically. So to be able to turn it off completely and hear the changes in the interference, hear it audibly change very easily, it's just magical. Click the ABC off and proceed. So, anyway. A neat little feature to have. And that's enough for me. I'm going to go do my coffee and hear what everybody else has to say as Will goes down the list. Jacob Will, AA6BB, WA6YOS.
Very good, Jim, on your progress on the capacitor, trying to find the short. Well, you just get a suicide plug and you put one clip on one the stator and the rotator and plug it at 110. You'll find where the short is. It will make itself self-evident right away. All right, let's go to Tom, AJ6TT. Okay, real good, Tom. Well, do you have any idea what your temperature is out there in Hemet today so far? Okay, Tom, thanks for that report. Gary, WA6BIP. Ken, W6HK. Good morning, Don, K6DLP. My goodness, I hope he's not out trying to work in this heat. Good morning, Gary, W6RYO.
Yeah, good morning, all. Gary RYO here. Nothing doing, nothing going on, just a hot day it's going to be. So pretty much I need to stay inside. Let's see, what else? Yeah, nothing going on. John RF, I read that article, and it's two different things, and we'll need to discuss that some more. But no need, everybody need to be involved in that. I did some searching for what you said, Will, and I never found any significant info, but, then I, got tired and went off and did something else and forgot where I was. So every once in a while I find myself wandering around and I don't know where I am, so I'll have to go find myself. Anyway, that's about it. No exciting projects going on, just trying to keep cool and looking forward to what I think is going to be a very, very hot summer, especially since they say El Nino has started up already, so it'll be a very hot summer and a very wet winter. Anyway, guys, I'm rambling, so I'll turn it back to you, Will, and be listening. AA6DD, W6R oil.
All right, very good, Gary. Yeah, it's, well, like I say, what I was talking about was, just announced by the actual scientific papers, so it hasn't kind of filtered down into even the upper echelon general public science community. So let me see if Kim is possibly with us, K6YYL. All right, we'll get you on the second round there. Mark, AG6ZR.
AA6DD in the group, AG6ZR. Mark in Upland. It does my heart good to listen to Jim talk about struggling with repairing that radio, because more often than not, 90% of the time I get in even the old 5-tube radios and find them quite challenging. So that's good to know that a veteran repairman like Jim, with all that knowledge, has problems from time to time. What else? Spent this week having a white oak tongue and groove floor sanded and restained by a contract company. They did a beautiful job, came out very nicely considering how it looked to start with. I had torn the wall-to-wall carpeting out a week earlier and kind of thought I was probably just going to have to put a floor over that floor, but it came out very nicely, so my wife is quite pleased. It has a sewing room now. 77 in here, 25 centigrade. I got everything set to metric, but I know 25 is 77 because, of course, that's the rating temperature for all kinds of electronic components, and it's one of the ones I remember, so I don't have to do the conversion in my head. And that's about it for me. Yeah, I agree with Gary. I think it's going to be a very toasty summer with El Nino already starting up, and the equatorial temperatures and the equatorial currents pretty apparently already in El Nino mode. So, and 2 wet winters in a row won't necessarily be a bad thing, but I'm sure they'll cause all kinds of disastrous problems. But of course we won't get the snowpack with El Nino, so may not necessarily help our water situation, but we'll see what happens. I noticed also for Kim, she gives us the numbers. Things looked pretty calm yesterday. I think 150s for flux, but I noticed just before I went to bed last night that the thing showed an R1 radio blackout, and the flux had gone up a few points. So I know there's a giant sunspot. It's so big that you can see it with the naked eye in areas that have all the smoke from the fires. There's some photos of the sun with a black spot on it, but it is so far pretty quiescent. But if it fires off, I assume we'll get some more noise and high flux levels. So that's about it for me, Will. AA6DD, AG6ZR.
Okay, Mark. Yeah, that's our oldest records of sunspots is the Chinese thousands and thousands of years ago would look at the heavens in order to predict what the gods were up to. And they actually did write down whenever they would see spots on the sun. Let's go to Rich, W6BRC.
Yeah, W6BRC here, and just hanging out for a few minutes before we take off in the heat for something to eat somewhere. And we fortunately have finally got my PTO for my solar system from good old Southern California Edison Company, and now I'm generating enough to turn the air conditioning on and run the radios and what have you. So I'm quite pleased. It was this whole thing started the end of end of January, and it took that long. We'll say February 1st to this date to everybody to finally fall in line. And so we're there finally. If I had to do it over again, I don't think I would, but whatever. It's done and working. So anyways, back over to you there, Will, and hello to everybody. AA6DD, W6BRC in Rancho Cucamonga.
Okay, very good, Rich. Let's go to Dana, N7UFT. Let's go to Doug, N6ODF.
Good morning, Will, and everyone on the net. This is N6ODF in Corona, and I don't really have too much for the net this morning. I won't be in the second round. I've got to get ready for my kids coming over. We're going to stay in the pool most of the afternoon and celebrate July 4th, maybe a little early because we might be out of town on the 4th. So anyway, Will, if you can comment on my modulation on AM now, I tweaked some adjustments. The transceiver here is a little bit different from my ICOM, so I'm not sure if I made any improvement over the last time I checked in. So that's about all from here. Back to you, Will. AA6DD, N6ODF.
Yeah, you're now armchair copy. It did help, definitely. Let's see if John, W7RSO, is out there. Nope, not there. Let's go to John, AA6RF.
Yeah, let's see, AA6RF to the group. Well, a comment about the weather. Back in May, I'm going to give my source. It was the LA Times. The LA Times said we were going to have a record heat wave in June, and for the whole month total, they said it was going to set records, and it did set records for being one of the lowest temperature months that we've had in a long, long time. We had a lot of cool days in June, but I'm going to listen to Gary, and I'm going to say Gary's more accurate. July is going to be a hot July, but boy, LA Times struck out for June. And let's see, I've been back to my old experimentation with ground radios and stuff for a 20-meter vertical. And Will finally convinced me that it's really not important, the ground radios. Of course, they do make an improvement, but the improvements they make by adding 10, 12, 50, 100 ground radios is ridiculous. You're only going to gain maybe a tenth or a quarter of a dB by going from 32 to 100. So why do it? And Will's analogy was, well, if you pour a glass of water in the ocean, does it rise? And his and I statements, we both agreed the ocean will rise if you pour a glass of water in the ocean. So that's it, Will. I'll turn it back for you for any comments.
Right. So that means it doesn't really matter. Let's see if Chris is out there. KF6LEX. Do we have any other late missed or visitor check-ins? Call signs, please. Hearing none. Well, we'll give a little time for Jim to run up after getting the coffee on. Let's go to Jim here shortly. Looking at the sporadic season we've had up in that now, I would say May was kind of disappointing, below average. And then we had a nice 2 weeks in the beginning of June there. And of course we had a real hit on the VHF, UHF, EHF, ARL contest, where we had not only single hop openings, but some real nice double hop openings. So that was wonderful. Field day was kind of spasmodic, not much happening on field day. And not much sporadic on field day anywhere. In fact, F-layer was kind of poor on field day until the evening hours and nighttime. The middle of the day on that Saturday, it was really very, very poor F-layer conditions. We did have some opens last Friday, spasmodic as they were. Kim got in on, I think she worked one of the Colorado stations, and we'll come back to it. We'll get a report on what she worked, and John worked at least one or maybe two of the stations, and I worked one or two of the stations. But here again, very weak. Tom, I think Tom also worked one of the stations on Friday. So it's still out there. We still have July that could come back and be lots of those sporadic opens, but you just don't know. So that's my analysis of this season so far. Let's go to Jim, WA6YOS.
I'm still here, Will.
John.
Copy me, Will.
Yes.
All right. I'll just say hello to everybody. I don't have too much more to add. Talking about all kinds of fun getting dirt out of the old air variable capacitors. If you, of course, tie a suicide cord across them, you'll have a chance of welding them together permanently, but you can crank down the power or the energy level and get little sparks by using a power supply and a capacitor or something. Let's see, what else was I going to say? I just noticed, just reading about a question about why Toyota in Japan isn't stressing electric vehicles as much. And the one answer was that the electrical infrastructure in Japan is nowhere near able to handle a huge increase in electric vehicles. But that was an interesting comment. And there's all kinds of interesting stuff on some of the QRZ forums that guys are talking about super regen receivers and stuff. That was interesting as well. Anyway, I did hear real quickly this morning, I heard a few guys coming up from Delta Mike 78 or somewhere fairly close, but it wasn't there long enough for them to hear me. That's it, Will. AA60D KU6X.
Okay, how would I Google the forum to see what they're talking about, the super regens.
Yeah, QRZ, go on the QRZ forum.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, one guy did come up with using a noise squelch on a super regen receivers that'll work very well.
Yeah, it's very hard to create one. I was successful in designing one, but it's really, really hard. That's because the current in the detector doesn't change very much.
Yeah, this was a real noise squelch. He was listening to the noise.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, if you go through the effort of doing that, then it's straightforward. It's a regular noise squelch design. You can almost rip out a noise squelch of any of the analog Motorola's or RCA's or anybody, and just build the same thing and plug it in. It'll work. Go ahead.
Yeah, this was used a couple of ICs and a active filter.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's the, like I say, a fairly standard way of doing it. It's just that multiplies the number of, if you look at why they didn't do it, RCA did it. Okay, RCA made a CD set that was a super regen, and there's 3 stages in the receiver and 3 stages in the squelch.
Yeah, that's for sure. It just complicates things a great deal.
Yeah, when that meant cost back in those days. You think, my God, you're going to do that, you might as well make it a super head.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, do we have any late missed visitor check-ins before we go up to Jim? I did hear somebody on the sideband on my other squelch open, so he's on 125 or was doing something down there. All right, go ahead, Jim, the basic YOS.
YOS.
Yeah, Jim, the SDR receiver is working. I think you have the instructions of how to get on the web and listen to it.
Oh, okay.
All right, yeah, just letting you know. And no, that's good news. That was 67 degrees where you are. That's wonderful news. What it means is it will cool off here at night. In fact, it'll cool off right after sundown. So that's fabulous news to hear. Because we'll get onshore flow from Orange County. And I feel it up here on my hill. And they'll even feel it somewhat in Hemet, but I feel it a lot more than they do. I get that flow. Jessica Santiago is a big wall that stops it, but I still get it coming down through the Santa Ana River Canyon there. Okay, let's go to Tom, AJ6TT. Okay, Tom. Yeah, when I had my 650, I made a mod in it that worked quite well. I'm sure I don't have any documentation on it anymore. It's been so many years. But the noise blanker has an AGC circuit in it that limits how hard it'll blank. And so I basically you go in and you cripple the AGC circuit to force it blank harder, and then it would become a very effective blanker on even residual high tension lines. It would work reasonably well on. Of course, if somebody was 30 over 9, it would distort, so you'd have to turn it off. But you know, I always wanted the most effective blanker I could get, even if I do have a less dynamic range. I can always. Somebody strong, turn down the gain, turn off the blanker. So that's all I have. It trying on being 90 degrees in Hemet. So I'll have to go up, but that's in the shade, you say. All right. Let's see if Gary may have showed up, WA7VIP. How about Ken, W6HK? Let's see if John may have showed up, K6DLP. Gary, W6RYO.
Yep, I'm here. Caught me on the chair on the other side of the room. All right, well, once again, nothing much going on. So just do a little web searching, and you know, I'm sure there's 100 things out there that I don't need that I would like to buy, but oh well. Yeah, that's really it for me. We'll see everybody Wednesday. We've got a event at our airfield Tuesday, so I'm going to go out there, see what's happening, and go to breakfast on Wednesday. So it's going to turn into a full week. You know, it's quite frightening when you have that much planned. Anyway, guys, and we'll talk about that stuff with the pulsars later on. I'm still going to do a little more searching on it. So, anyway, that's it. nothing else to say. So AA6DD and the group, everybody stay cool. W6R oil.
Okay, Gary. Very good on the astronomy stuff, and I'll see if I can, if I come across it again, jot down some email addresses or something, or addresses on the web for it. We are off to get the numbers from Ken, K6YYL. Okay, and why did you work Friday? Okay, real good on that, Kim. All right, thanks for the numbers. We'll go to Mark, AG6ZR.
AA6DD in the group, AG6ZR. So I looked at the official Weather Service approved thermometer in the backyard, and it's 79.7, so we'll call it 80. And so, yeah, still get a pretty nice sea breeze right now here that cools things off, although I have to say, I think night before last didn't cool off too well here. Pretty high heat index, pretty humid, so that transition from the beach weather to the high pressure and dry hot weather, we usually get a couple days around here that are pretty sticky and miserable. So, but we all need I guess, our little doughboy wading pools out in the front yard to go flop in the middle of the day here shortly. So I lack that. I'll have to settle for running through the sprinklers, I guess. Well, don't have those anymore either, just drips, because I took out all that grass around here. Well, I don't know. I'll have to revert to the hose, I guess. That'll have to be the trick. That's it for me, Will. Have a good week, everyone, and look forward to having some openings on 6, maybe. I've kind of given up on 10. Seems like nobody gets on there anymore except with FT8, so unfortunately. All right, Will, AA6DD, AG6ZR.
The band's open.
Okay, yeah, I heard people earlier. Which direction, John?
Texas, Arizona. They're loud. I just tried to work one a second ago, but I came back.
Okay, very good on that report. All right, we got Mark in there. Let's see, Rich is probably gone, but we'll see. W6BRC. Doug in 6ODF. Your turn, John, AA6RF.
Yeah, let me turn the remote down. There's strong signals coming in on 125, and I tried getting them to come up 5, and then I gave up because the net's more important, but I'll cut it short. The band's open. I think it's Texas. It was a 5 station coming in.
Well, okay, very good. All right, well, we'll turn it to John then to try to rhythms KU6X.
All right, everybody. I don't see anybody with my antenna pointed at 90 degrees to Texas, but I'll flip it around and see if I can hear any of those guys. So I won't hold it. Everyone's chomping at the bit to get on sideband. Anyway, 73s, everybody, and don't burn your fingers. This is KU6X.
Any late miss visitor check-ins, call signs, please. With that, everybody have a wonderful 4th. AA6DD will be clearing the AM Roundtable.